Hello and welcome to the Unfit crew. Say hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi. I am the idiot with a voice.
Anyway, welcome to the Unfit crew, chapter 6, where we're going to continue this arc and hopefully finish it before your guys' holidays. But we'll see. Maybe we'll just do it later. Regardless, as pretty much anybody noticed, we have a change in the crew. If you haven't seen that already, in Chapter 5 we have unfortunately to say for the moment goodbye to Golden Nova because of the fact that he have his own issues right now in the scheduling of his own personal life and he cannot commit, but he said the moment that he can, he will return back. So you're going to hear, if you haven't seen already or heard already, you're going to hear in the recap why that happened, at least in story-wise, what Wexley is going to do. But yeah, other than that, we have our new friendly face, Brownie Pag. So he's also very, very awesome. And he is playing a very, very cool character, K-Bot the Dragonborn. But without further ado, let's jump right into the recap very easily, and then we'll jump right into the campaign as usual. So, last session, as I pretty much mentioned, the guys in the crew essentially descended down from the Elbird Mountains down to Tayred Dref town, where they essentially took their time off before they will continue to Eperned with Roy, which is the council member, as they discovered, because they needed to nurse their wounds and essentially take a little bit of a time off because of the fact that the caves were not easy. Let's just say that. They took their time, and essentially Gorgnak got a new bump in the head, but they also met the new Dragonborn companion of them, K-Bolt, which is a very, very, very simp to the duck. Anyway, he's very, very cool, and he's their new warlock companion. They essentially exchanged words, and K-Bolt surprisingly decided to tag along, and even without knowing anything about what they're going to do, just decided to, you know what, I just want to come with you, and apparently none of them had any issues with that. The next day after that, they met up with Roy, and they essentially discussed their way to Eperned. Not before Wexley has been summoned by the king, specifically to be the new student to the mage, or should I say the wizard of the kingdom, because of the fact that he is pretty much becoming ill and needs somebody to transfer his secrets to. Or should I say becoming old and ill, so they don't want all of this magical knowledge to be lost, and essentially he was chosen as the apprentice. So Wexley said fair goodbye, and hopefully they will meet again pretty soon, and took his leave through a teleportation that had been made by Roy himself. After that, the crew took carriages into the town of Eperned, where one of Roy's assistants, an Arachne named Janelli, essentially explained them about the old story of how the kingdom was created, as well as the idea of how the demi-human kind of region kind of works, and why it's looking a little bit of inferior in some points of others. They took their time in the Lingers Estate, which is the house of the family, which Roy is technically the adopted son head of, and they essentially, after that, met with him in the arena when he kicked their ass and test their might to see if they're ready to actually for the things that are going to meet ahead. Surprisingly, Bobby pulled off something very, very interesting that kind of intrigued his attention, and they all kind of like almost had a chance, but not really, you know what I mean. And essentially, he decided to still let them stay, even though there were going to be something very, very hard ahead. And he decided that, you know what, these guys are cool, I'm going to train them. And that's where we left off. And essentially, this is where you're at right now. You are at the side room to the arena that is down in the bottom of Linger's Mountain, or should I say underground there, and you're essentially after you nursed your wounds. So essentially, Estelia entered the room, and she's like the centaur lady, and she said, "So, this looks like my brother kicked your ass."
Yes.
I think he needs a nerf, going to be honest.
Stop metagaming.
I just wanted to hit him, and he just wasn't there.
Yeah, he's very nimble like that.
Damn it.
Being growing in the street and all for a while.
Hopefully the patch fixes this.
Stop metagaming! Anyway, are you all doing fine, or do you need something to kiss your boo-boos? She's saying with a smile. She's like, kind of like, you know, being a little bit of not nice at the same time. You're all big boys. I'm sure you will be fine.
Ale, a steak, and a massage, please.
Oh, you cannot be drunk before your meeting with him.
Alcohol is his only medication.
That's a problem. You should get that checked out.
It really is.
Yo, not even Mendel can help you feel better?
And where's Mendel? Yes, where's our duck?
Well, probably the last place you left him.
The arena.
Did you bring him to the arena?
I can't remember.
I think you probably left him in the room.
With Jeff. Yes, if I remember correctly, Jeff.
Yes, Jeff the
the
Beetle.
Beetle. Anyway. So, yeah, So, do you want to go get him, or you'll be ready in a few minutes to go talk? Because you do have something very, very important to discuss.
I don't think we need a duck for discussions.
Fine.
Then right this way, she says, and she opens the door. And you probably wonder yourself how a horse kind of like step up the stairs. Well, there is a side way for that. If you haven't noticed earlier, there is a side way for the arena where like people don't have to go up in stairs because of this particular situation. Actually, a lot of the places here don't really have stairs, but they only have a small section. Like, you know, in like what are called malls, right? There are like a lot of stairs. Like, you know, the wider place is the stair, and then there is a smaller side for like what are called, not wagons, like baby things. I forgot what they're called. Like they're like I forgot.
Baby carriages.
Baby carriages, right? So you have a small. That's the other way around here, because of the fact that they're mostly people who just walk in more than two legs and they're half animal. But they do have it for people who want to go in the stairs because of the fact that stairs could be a little bit more safe for some races, so they will not essentially slide for no good reason if they will fall. So, yeah, that's actually kind of hilarious when you think about it. So she
this
takes...
place is very progressive.
Yes. Yes, we are. So she's taking you upstairs to the same place that you guys were in, but instead of going to your rooms, she's going with you to... My god, I forgot the... 2 floors up. I forgot the word for a second. I don't know why. 2 floors up until you're reaching what looks like... It's not really a big, like, you know, the floor up is looking like a little bit smaller because it looks like it's built in a way of, like, the upwards is smaller as, like, it should be. And it looks like it has, as you're kind of like getting to it, and like right to your left when you're stepping up, kind of looks like a lot of portraits of different kind of centaurs and essentially heads of the family, until you essentially end up with a portrait of her and a human, which is Roya, obviously, which is different from anybody else. And then you see the kind of like entrance to the office. Once again, it has kind of like, unlike suits of armor, like normal suits of armor, it's centaurs suits of armor. And everything is kind of like more feeling kind of have more vegetarian vibe when you're looking at things. It's a weird thing to explain, pretty much, but it's like, you know, the fact is like there are a lot more vegetations and trees around there, pretty much. It looks like she's kind of like going to eat one of the tree branches. Yes, I don't know how horses works. Anyway, but yeah, it's giving you more of a vegetarian vibe, and she kind of like I said, she take one of the tree branches, kind of like take it off, and then she just giving you to taste it.
I'll take a bite.
It has the same taste as oranges.
Yum.
Yeah, it's something that we're developed. We're trying to develop trees with the same taste as the fruit itself, to just, you know, if there will be times of starvation, we can use this. And for now, it's working fine, but there could be some aftertastes.
What kind of aftertaste?
You know, just a little bit of bitterness, a little bit more than, like, you know, the normal orange sometimes, but it's not something too crazy or life-threatening. It's just a little bit of a thing that I think your ales will be able to wash over. Don't worry about it.
Okay, good.
Well, let's get in, shall we? She says as she pushed the two wide doors between the centaur's armors. And you enter in. The room itself, it's not really the biggest thing in the world, right? It's not like a grandiose, like, office, but it does have a feel to it, and it's mostly, like, not wide, but mostly upwards. It's like, it's very, very tall, compared to, like, a lot of places. It's not, like, you know, too tall, because the building itself is not really that tall, but it looks like it's more decked out in some places. Like, it has like a second floor to the office, if not a third, and it's decked out in some of the shelves by like tons of books. And at the middle of it, there's a desk with him sitting there, and also on the top there is a little bit of a chandelier there as well. The room itself like looks very, very much more of like, you know, kind of like the most looks like, you know, the basic office for a lord that could be. It's like, it's looking impressive, but it also looks like he's trying to make this at least as like possible to be like overwhelming, even though it's 2 floors up with books. But you know. So I see they're here finally. He says, there's like, he's like writing something down, and he's like finally looking at you from the table, and he's putting the letter to the side. How have your wounds have been healed in this little bit of time? He says with a smile.
Still waiting for my steak and massage.
We'll get to that. Please take a seat, all of you, he says as he's like, you know, pointing to the free chairs in front of him. Are you guys going to stand there, or are you going to go to seat? Just going to ask.
Okay, I'm sitting.
Cool.
You know how I am. I run towards chairs. I hate standing up.
Yeah, I'm sitting down also.
It looks like Hystelia is about to leave, but Royce tell her, no, I want you to stay here for this one. As he says that she's like standing there and like standing by his side because she's a centaur, she cannot really seat. But she's looking at the three of you as well. And it's like, so, what do you have you brought to me? Because before I will share with you my information, I want to hear from you, not from letters, as he said. That's like he's just taking out one of his drawers, the letters that Noella wrote to him, the town's guard on Hillford. And she said, I want to hear from you guys, not from somebody else. Or should I say, she's not wrote it to him, like she wrote to one of her higher ups and essentially get his hand to him. That's more the accurate for this. Because, letters, like he said, I know it was transferred from people, but, stories do tend to change. So I want to hear it from you. What did you two guys see? Because I know you weren't a part of it, cabled, but I think you should also want to hear it from them if you're going to stick with them. He says as she looking at you, Bobby and Gorgnak.
Okay, a little question from my side.
Yes.
Do you want me to just do it as Grognak remembers, or we can go with that? We just tell him.
You can do whatever you see fit. I know that it's a little bit of an annoying answer. Where's my dice? Just give me a second. Yeah, you can do whatever you see fit. I think that will be a little bit better decision. Because if you want to do it from Gorgnak memory and then also Bobby will complete that, that's fine. But it's like, I think doing it from your character memory is a little bit better because of the fact that it will be a little more states to the truth of your character.
Thank you, I was hoping you'd say that.
Alright, so, yeah. You two can talk. Even you, Bobby. Just like it's depending on if you want to complete what he says or not, and if you feel like you need to add something.
Yeah,
I'll
so
let Grognak go first.
Okay.
yeah, so there was that guy Jonas, and he was supposed to bring some children for a thing, and then they didn't come. So me, Bobby, and Wexley.
You mean Bobby,
Grognak
Wexley, and you. That's the more correct way to say it.
Yes.
Yes, you said rolling your eyes, probably.
Oh geez, we got the person going after our grammar now. What is this, English class?
Probably, because I'm going to be probably an English teacher, so yes, and a Hebrew teacher, so that works. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, so we were persuaded to go and fetch them. And when we got out of town, we met Mendel, the best duck ever, and he helped us track them.
I think we should probably cut the duck from this story, as it doesn't have too much relevance to what's happening.
Grognak looks at Bobby with a shock on his face.
I know public
What?
opinion of this episode may go down for Les Wendell, but still, I think it's just necessary we forget about him for just a little bit of time.
Fine. So, we finally tracked the children to a cave. And that cave had goblins and orcs and some bears.
In which order?
Depends.
In which order you fought first? That's pretty much what's...
So that would be bears, goblins, orc.
Okay.
In that specific order. We killed them in that specific order.
Oh, okay. Makes sense. And?
So the funny thing was that the orc was kind of doing something in the water. He was fully clothed, which is weird. But if he wasn't, that would be very uncomfortable on more levels than one.
Anyway.
Yeah, and the water was shining very, very white, and it was weird, and it was very holy. So it was weird.
Okay.
And so we killed them, and we got the children back. Hooray us. And we got the body of Jonas, rest in peace, from the lake. The funny thing about Jonas's body was that he was half metal, which he wasn't originally. And some of that metal got on Bobby's sword.
Okay. Anything
Yes, it's
else?
almost like a convenient plot device to help my character be a little bit stronger, but also work into the story very well.
Why are you still breaking the fourth wall, Deadpool?
I wink towards whatever camera there is. Even though there isn't.
Yeah, so we got the vial of the water from that lake. Ragnar puts the water on the table. When it comes to the bears, once we were going out there, kind of, there were dust. There weren't bears anymore. There were dust, and I in my infinite knowledge, was able to determine that they were there was white madness involved, and we got also that dust as well. Ragnar puts the dust with a very hard thumb on the table.
It looks a little bit missing. Did you give it to somebody a little bit to test, I guess?
There was the professor, and he was looking at Jonas, and he determined that there was some magic involved, but it's mostly holy thing.
Very well. Is there anything else you would like to add?
There was I don't know. I don't remember.
Bobby?
Well, most of his story is correct. I guess one thing I could add is that you can investigate my sword, but, please don't take it forever, as it's the most clutch thing in my possession.
Are you going to take out the sword? Or just give the sword with the... are you going to pull up the sword, out of it, sheath? Or are you going
I'll give him the sword with the hilt.
Hilt. Are you going to give the sword with a hilt? Is he says, okay.
Yeah, sword with hilt.
So we'll take that for later. I'm pretty sure nothing too crazy will come out of it, but we'll see what we can do with this. If there need be, I will have a word with you privately, I think. Because, honestly, it's just your sword, and then you can just decide if you want to convey the information with the rest. Because, that's your opinion, and you're essentially... can do whatever you want with it. For the time being, yeah, that sounds about right. He's sitting there for a second and thinking. Just give me a second, he says, as he stands up, and he's taking the ladder to one of the higher shelves, and then he started taking a book or two out, and then bring them down. I also remember there was another thing that been mentioned but I'm not 100% sure that like I'm not really sure what it is, but you know, if you guys don't remember, I'm sure it wasn't really 100% important. But he just taking out and he just opened up a book with very, very, very weird symbols inside of it and very weird drawings. In one of those drawings, you essentially recognize as he shows this to you. That was the helmet and the sword symbol that you had on Jonas' so-called created half armor.
Oh, that was on Jonas.
Yes, it was, and I figure that will be the case. I am not sure if that's a good thing, because it could be. I mean, in one hand, it could be okay, but on the other hand, it's also absolutely terrible. Because this is what we like to call artificial angels.
Damn it. There goes my theory about golems.
I mean, depending on what you look at, these angels are kind of part golems because they are constructed from something and they're not truly an angel. They were ascended of sort, but not exactly. Because of the fact that in this particular case, it looks like it wasn't really something that he wanted to do. And it's really interesting that orcs out of all races will do something like this. It's orcs we're talking about. We're not talking about humans or elves or races that are more akin to the divine. And they also used very barbaric methods to get the people to essentially do that. They decided to force the person into it, which making things a little bit strange. Maybe because of that, the white madness was caused to the bears because of the fact that they used a lot of energy, a lot more than they intended to start this transformation. Because of the fact that, well, it wasn't intentional for the person, or should I say the person didn't agree with it to begin with. Because you said he was dead, and it looks like he didn't really agree with this, or wanted this, unless of course could be said otherwise.
Okay, and what about the fact that orcs used holy magic?
That's something I cannot really think I can answer you right now. Also, K-Bolt, are you getting this, or it's a little bit harder for you to understand? Because if it is, we'll just essentially lay it down to you, if need be.
I'm kind of understanding it. Some of it's going a little bit over my head, but I think I could get it.
Very good. There will be a test tomorrow. Not
might
really.
become monkey brained.
There will be a test about this tomorrow, but not really.
So
anyway.
I have a theory about why how the orcs could use the divine. It's a theory, a cleric theory, if you want to hear it.
Go on.
So the divine are usually used for by people of good intentions that want to do good. Yes, and maybe that orc just thought he was doing good. So he was able to use divine magic just due to the fact that by his thought, by his morals, he was doing the right thing, even if he wasn't.
That's an interesting theory, and I'm not 100% if that's 100% true, but it is an interesting theory that we can dig into. Secondly, what do you think angels are? Do you think they're good or evil? Just to let you know. And do you think demons are good or evil? I know it comes off as a weird question, but it's very important.
Are they out to kill us?
I want to hear your answer first. I want to hear all three of you. What do you think?
I, Grognak, quite frankly, do not care as long as they don't want to kill me or take my ale.
Very well. The two of you. He looks at you two.
My moral compass goes out the window if a demon's hot. That's all I gotta say.
Fair enough. K-Bolt?
So, I don't really know too much about them, but I would think that angels are good and demons are bad.
That is precisely incorrect. It's not always like this.
Sorry, I just thought it was opposite day.
No, I'm not saying it's not true. I'm saying that is not precise. That is precisely incorrect. That all of them are good and all of these are evil. Because
Well, you know, Cable, the world is made of very many shades of gray. More than 50 at least.
Yeah,
Well,
there's nothing wrong with a succubus.
he's like
Not in my
looking
mind,
like
at least.
for a second he's like looking at you and it's like it doesn't really look like he's looking at you shocked or something. He just looks at you as like kind of like narrowing his eyes for a second and then he's just like okay, anyway, the point is you will understand why in a second if you haven't got that already from last session by mentioning something. Anyway, the point is he kind of like tell you like, look, okay, we all know that normally angels are good and demons are bad, right? But there are always exceptions, and there are sometimes civilizations, just like mine, that I would say thinks the opposite. And he looks at Estelia and then looks at you. I'm pretty sure you guessed that we're not blood related, right?
No! You don't say!
Oh, you're actually surprised. He said,
No, I'm being sarcastic.
I know you are. I'm being double sarcastic.
I've been out sarcastic.
You've been out sarcast. Indeed. Anyway, the point is, I am not from here. And frankly, for the time being, I think revealing where I'm from is not really going to be the smartest, especially if, walls have ears. So, yeah. And already, as you probably heard from the letter, my status as one of the council members is not really the hottest right now. Not because of the fact of, they know that I'm not from here, but because of the fact that, they don't like them humans. Let's just say that.
And why would that be? Because of what Janelle told us?
Yes. Let's just say
That's
this. Humans are interesting creatures. They just want to essentially unite under a common enemy most of the time to protect themselves. And honestly, you could say if you weren't growing it in here with the people here that these people could be considered as monsters at night, at least some of them. Because some of them are a little bit like, people are afraid of spiders, people are afraid of snakes. I mean, I'm not heard people afraid of horses, but you know what I mean. And because of the fact that they don't really have a place to go, we're kind of housing all of them that we're able to in that part of that we have, and kind of like having a civilization here. And because of that, it kind of looks to people a little bit of bad, or not cool, as they say. So all I'm pretty sure most of these demi-humans want to do is just leave their lives. So that's kind of sucks that there are people like this, but what can you say? And because of that, and because people know that I'm here to protect these people, and they know that I'm a Council of 5, they're essentially not cutting anything out of my word. Like, they're not coming here and just, like, deciding to attack this place because they know that, there's somebody that is not demi-human that's guarding this place and will not start a war not on purpose. Because, like I said, people are afraid of these creatures. I know that the mass could not be afraid or something, but if someone stupid enough frame this entire place for no good reason to being, like, evil, and they will not have their babysitter supervisor, a human, then they will be very, very much angry and start doing things. Because I know that maybe before you could say, he says that you've probably seen the portraits or the drawing outside, that they're sometimes the heads of the family weren't like, most of them were centaurs and not humans, except me. But the point is, like, things changed recently, so I grown here, I've been taken here, and I become the head of the family just for sake of idea. Not that I really, really like being in charge of stuff, he says, rolling his eyes. So, yeah.
So why not? So why not just be the head on the outside and make her do all the things?
Well, it's not as easy as you think it is. Things becoming a little bit more strict recently with people that just want to do and get more power, and essentially not really happy with the fact that their house wasn't really chosen from being the king. I mean, the only one that is okay with us at the moment is the Baroness of Neporia, which is where the region of your people is, rank up, or should I say Bobby, sorry. This is like the region like under your people, which is like Hillford, your hometown in Neporia. Of course, there are also small towns, like really small villages that are not showing in the map, but these are the big locations for everyone that's seeing on the map, because I'm not going to write every small place ever on this map. The point is, she's in charge of there, and she's kind of like okay with us, but the rest of the three could be a little bit more hostile. Therefore, I really asked you in the letter if you're okay of joining here, because of the fact that, sure, I think I have the most knowledge compared to everybody else, but if people will see you with us and essentially siding with us, that could, when you're going to meet them, when we're getting to the capital, in due time, of course, because we will need to get there, it could be looking a little bit for them not friendly enough, because they just don't really like me. Let's just say that.
Oh, well, that's...
We'll see. The point
If it
is...
doesn't, fuck 'em.
Yes. Yes, we can. Anyway. The point is... let's roll back in the conversation. Where were we?
Bears, white madness, water.
There's no sins with succubuses.
Right.
You took out the buck.
Anyway. Point is, in this particular thing, that, like I said, demons are not always evil, and angels are not always good. And sometimes the concept of good or evil are very much verified by other people, as you mentioned with the orc. As well for the part that, how should I say this? Sometimes, like, way too much good is also very bad because of being so strict and so, just worthy that you're killing everybody for no good reason because they're past one very, very stupid and simple sin. So, yeah. That can also be very, very bad to be overly good. The point is, we're probably dealing with trying to bring kind of like an angel amalgamation of sort. I am not sure if it's ties to some higher divine power yet. Hopefully not. But for the moment, that's kind of like what I think it is. As for these, he says, and he's looking at the vials. He's taking the vial of water. He's taking what looks like a small... I would not say like a very, very small... it's not a cup. What is it? He's not taking your vial. He's taking like for a small like... what is the thing that you eat on? I forgot the word for it.
Plate?
Yes. He's taking a small plate, pouring a little bit out of it, and essentially starting to pull out of his drawers different kind of ingredients and just starting to throw a little bit of in. And let's see what he finds out, shall we? Well, he kind of like throws something that looks to you like kind of like a purple kind of like plant. It's throw it in, nothing happens. Then he throws something that looks like a little bit more like pepper. And then the thing kind of like started to burst in flames. Blue flames specifically. That is definitely holy water. Definitely.
And there's a lake of it. In the cave.
I mean, they did create a holy amalgamation. So, yeah.
Wait. Does this holy water have an expiration date?
I'm not 100% sure. He says.
I'm just wondering for how long it will be in that cave.
Does holy water sell for a lot?
The water, like the flame, like burst for a few seconds. Then they're starting to die down for a few moments, and then after 2 minutes or so, it disappears. And then he says, give or take, I'm not sure. I think this have an expiration date, but I'm not really 100% sure. I mean, holy water most of the time don't have, but it probably just shows for its power rather than its expiration date. So it's not really the strongest of holy waters, but it is pretty impressive what they were able to create, he says. As he's like putting everything from the plate into a cup and then jug it to himself.
Cheers.
Tastes like, without the pepper and everything, tastes like a lot of mercury.
Oh well, that's not good then.
Yes, it's not. Very much not, because that's probably what was made out of this armor or so. That's what the armor was created of, probably.
Oh god, I have a mercury sword. That could be a problem.
Well, we'll have to check that out if that will be a problem. He says, writing it down to himself. I probably have to check that out later because I have a lot of things to look into, and I'm hoping they're not as bad as I think they are. What is another thing that we have here? Well, you gave me this so-called vial, right? So, what do we have in this vial? We have dust. Well, this is something that I don't think I can test by eating or anything. And I don't think I can test it like that, because if I'll take way too much and I'll just spread it into the wind, it's just going to disappear. And it's not that easy as holy water to test, so...
Are you going to sniff it?
I mean, I can. But I'd rather give it to sniff it, he says, looking at Estelia. It's like... She says, like, is it really a good idea to tell them about her? Didn't what? What did you say?
What? Why is she sniffing this? Do you want her to sniff it?
Because she's more of an expert when it comes to good against things that are good magic. Let's just say that, or divine magic. She's kind of the opposite of that.
Oh. Interesting.
Didn't you notice something already? I think they already picked that up. When I'm walking around. Pretty sure you already noticed that. At least that's something that you were about to ask me, I think. He looked at you, Gordnak. As he kind of like stand up from his chair and start walking the room. And his shadow decided to do something else entirely. While it's also tied to him, she decided to do something else entirely. She's not really like moving the same way he does. She kind of like the shadow, because it's kind of like a woman figure. She kind of like looks like she's drinking a cup of tea rather than just like walking the same way he does.
Oh yeah, what's about that?
Yes, that's her.
Her who?
Her. This is the one that essentially sent Wexley on his way to the kingdom capital. And she's also very annoying sometimes, but yeah. We have a very weird family here, Estelia tells you. Since I don't really have parents anymore, we consider her as mother of sort.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to meet her?
Will she help us?
I mean, I think she would.
Sure.
Fine. Then let's do it more easier rather than just step all of you into my shadow, because that will be annoying.
Hey, we're going to the Shadow Realm.
No, you're going to my world, he says. Not exactly my world, my imagined world. That's where she's at, and we'll explain to you why is that way. At least for the best of our abilities. As he says, as he kind of like flicker his wrist, and kind of like a small kind of portal opens. And the other side looks like Greenlands. And you seeing the cottage, or I forgot what I mentioned last session for Wexley. That house there, you see it a little bit in the distance. Well, anybody want to step in first?
I'm nudging Grognak.
I'll help you nudge him.
Sorry,
I try and push in.
What?
I try to push K-Bolt in.
Alright, so roll for me all a strength check. Let's see who wins this. All of you rolled me a strength. Wow. Wow.
How do I roll strength check again? And just click on it, right? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I see the red.
So, yeah, K-Bolt is able to push Wexley, and what Wexley? Gordnak really fast in already.
God damn it!
And then you followed up by himself kind of like falling after him because of the fact that Bobby kind of like pushed him or tried to push Gorgnak and essentially kind of like used his power to push him in, and then you three, like three idiot stooges, falls on each other. Gorgnak in the bottom, Cable on top of him, and then Bobby is on the top of everyone there.
Could you please get off me?
Well, at least I got the comfy pillow landing.
I mean, do you consider scales comfy?
Yeah, never mind. It probably wasn't that comfortable.
Once again, Gorgnak get the short end of the stick.
Grognak, the butt of all jokes.
Anyway, the three of you stands up, and then your two companions enter in after you, and the portal closes. Or at least closes for the most part. It has a small hole to it. And then you look around you, and you see, like I said, green fields around you, with a small kind of like a forest, not exactly a big forest, but like a small forest to the side with what looks like a grave, or should I say graves. And then you see the cottage with the red-haired woman sitting there. Very redhead, like you notice her red. Like it's not like orangey red, like, you know, redheads as they say, like very bright red. Like almost blood red. If not, no, not blood red, more brighter
I
red.
smile and wave. Hi.
Oh, you're a little bit far, but...
So I at least wave.
And she waves back.
Okay, Bobby, Cobalt, let's go.
Alright, I'll proceed with Grognak.
Yes, I will also walk with you guys.
Okay,
Yes.
so we're walking to the cottage.
Well, you walk there. You see her sitting on her chair with a cup of tea in hand, a book on the table, and she looks at you with her blue, piercing eyes, very ice-cold looking eyes, and she has a green kind of mark on one of her cheeks. This looks like
Hello.
a scarf sort. Hello. I think your friend visited here earlier.
Oh, did he? An elf with a sort of an accent. Kind of a pompous guy? Was that him?
And he weirdly
Yes.
hates the duck.
Yes. And he exchanges some interesting stories with me. Which I'm sure... And she's looking at his... Like, you know, looking at Roy and Estelia, that my so-called children will ask me not to reveal yet. You see
We won't tell them.
Oh, no, they're joining you. You also notice that
No.
she has kind of like horns on her head. Not really noticeable, but she has horns. And wings on her back. And yes, Bobby, she's very hot.
Oh god, that may be one of my weaknesses.
So, why are you looking at me, young man? She's looking at you, smiling.
Oh god, all my rolls are going to have disadvantage. I have 2 engaged.
She kind of like, you know, kind of like, let's say kind of like break her charm from you, kind of like. She kind of like putting her hand on your head, and she put something that looks like to you all kind of like what called. It's kind of a symbol that is formed on his head, which is like will be a green eye. And honestly, you're just a lot more calm right now. And you're kind of like not taken back by that much.
Okay, this is feeling hella weird, but I like it.
Well, sometimes I have this kind of an effect on people. So that is expected. From the way that it looks to me, she said as she's kind of like taking her hand off your head. You mentioned the succubus earlier, without even knowing that is my race and upsetting my dear son.
Oh. Well. I guess we have a new romantic interest plot that's going to be happening.
I am not sure you're my type, she says.
Well,
and I'm
that's
not
her
sure.
Well,
Anyway.
Bobby, you got shut down quick.
Oh, of course you will get shut down by a demon that is like, I would say, given your age, probably 100, if not more, time older than you.
No, I'm hoping my sword has Mercury, so I already am at my midlife crisis.
How does that make any sense?
You know, Mercury's toxic and stuff. You can't really...
Right. Anyway, take a sit, she says as she claps and a few chairs appear.
Why, thank you. I love what you've done with the place.
Oh, it's not mine. I'm just dwelling here. This is all his. She's pointing at Roy. This is all his imagination. I'm literally alive because of him.
So he's also dreaming of succubus girls.
No. We made a contract a while back when I was almost dead, kind of, and needed a host of sort. And he needed something more. Which is, for the sake of this purpose, I will not say to you, because I'm pretty sure it's not something that you should be aware of right now. But when the time will come, we will tell you. The point is, I needed someone, and essentially, he passed my test, and we kind of made a contract. He let me live here, and I give him my power. We kind of like have a weird kind of relationship because he keeps me alive and I keep him alive. It's kind of weird.
Well, all I can say is that, you know, if anything comes up to it, I'm fine with demons in my head, especially hot ones.
Please stop, that's embarrassing.
Yes, I might have to take your mouth for a while if you will continue blubbering things like this.
Alright, I know I'm a turn off. I'll shut up now.
Oh no, you can talk, just don't talk like this, please. It's really not for the spirit of the conversation. Because I'm pretty sure you have something a little bit more interesting to talk with me rather than flirting with me, which is very flattering, again, but we have something more interesting to talk about.
Exactly. Growling looks at her directly on her hair.
What? What is with my hair? She says.
What a beautiful color. How much time do you spend daily on maintaining it? And how are you doing that?
She looks at you. I see you have hair problems. That's the reason. I think you're mentioning this. You're getting bold, aren't you? Men
Maybe.
get bold. We'll take care of you later.
We just got to stop me flirting, and now Jack. I mean,
I
Garnat's
think the
going
only
at it.
one I like here is even the person that wasn't with your friend originally, which is the Dragonborn. You're starting to get a little bit of annoying at some points, she says, kind of laughing. But you've been dead silent all this time. What brings you here? You're not part of the original. Free, I say.
One day I just randomly stumbled upon them and just decided to join them because I have nothing else to do.
Nothing else to do. Are you sure you want to join something so dangerous? I think you already been mentioned that it's probably going to involve angels and stuff. I know it's a question that probably been repeated to you, but I want to be 100% certain you know what you're up to.
Yes. I'm just gonna join them. It looks like they're gonna need some help.
Very well then. Well, before we'll talk fully, why don't we have a little bit of a cup of tea, she says, as she preparing flavors of your guys' choosing, and that I think will be a perfect time to take a break.